This is my 2008 Mitsubishi Evo 10. Now, I bought this car completely stock quite a few years ago, and in that time I have modified it to exactly what you see before you here. It is what I think to be pretty tastefully modded, well-rounded build. Now, I've been making videos on this car for a few years now. I've done lots of videos installing a lot of the parts that you can see on the car, and a question I really am commonly asked is, how much did it cost to build the entire car? What have I spent and what does it owe me? So I thought, you know what, today I will do exactly that. I haven't made a video similar to this before, but I'm going to go over just the parts you see on the car currently. So I've changed a few things since I did that video a few years back, and I thought, let's just go over the build exactly as you see it, what every part cost me, and how much the entire build overall owes me in total. Okay, so to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to break the car down into categories. So I'm going to do exterior mods. So if you just want the car to just look like mine does, then I'll be able to cost up everything you need to have your car look this way. If you want just the interior mods that I've done, then I'll do that. Same for power mods, engine bay cosmetics, and also suspension. And yeah, so if there's just one part, if you just want your car to look standard but make good power, then you'll be able to follow that category. If you want your car to have the overall package, then you can add everything up together, which I'll also do at the end for you. But so yeah, we'll start off with the exterior mods, the appearance mods, I guess you could say. So the car has a factory Mitsubishi Aero kit. So I sourced this for $800. I then sold some of the parts off. Well, I already had a set of the side skirts, which I'd paid $150 for, but overall, with painting, with selling the side skirts off, the Aero kit, which is the front lip, side skirts, the rear spats you can see, and also actually included the gurney flap for the stock rear wing, but I don't currently have that on at the moment. But that entire kit, so the rear, the side skirts, and that front lip, $800. So definitely a great price there. I picked it up at the time. Some of these parts you may be able to find cheaper, some you have to pay more. I always do hunt for a bargain. So a lot of these parts, these prices, things that I've bought used or found someone who never used the part and is selling it. So that's going to be a theme running with the build. I always search for a bargain. So starting off at $800. Then we have a front side number plate bracket there. It is a requirement in Australia to run the front plate. I know in America, a lot of you guys who watch videos are over there don't have to run those plates. We definitely do. So that was $75. Then I have my custom number plates, which I won't include in the price. Then I did the front badge delete and painted the nose gloss black. So that was $150. Probably needs to be redone at some point because it's starting to get a few stone chips and stuff on it. And then we also have the fog light delete kit. Pretty cool mod, a must-have to get some more breathing going on for the front of the car. That set me back $200, as did the FQ400 vent. This you can see here, $200 for that as well. The last thing at the front would be the headlights. So these are actually the factory HID headlights. They didn't come on this car, but they do come on most cars, most Evos that people will be buying. So I'm not going to include the price I paid for those, but I can say I've bought a few sets of them now, anywhere from like $400 to $1,000 you can pay. But I'm just going to include the cost to black them out because that's not standard, that is a modification. I had a friend do that for me for $200. So that's the front of the car. Now the exterior mods, I haven't really gone crazy. As you can see, it's pretty subtle overall, but the newest addition is going to be these wheels. So these are AME Tracer TMO2, and I just picked these up. Newest mod, which is only about a week and a half old. I actually got these for a ridiculous price of $1,200. So absolutely crazy. One has a little bit of gutter rash on it, but overall they're in really good condition. And yeah, so you can get a set of wheels for anything from, you know, $1,000 to $5,000 plus if you want to get some really expensive stuff. Also have some Ganador side mirrors. These set me back $900, and then the carbon fiber J panels to match for another $200. So pretty expensive little section of the car there, but something that I think really does look great and suits the overall build. Then we have some OEM weather shields. Surprisingly, these are one of my top 5 favorite mods of all time, just because I always like to drive with windows cracked. So these I really do recommend, and these sent me back $180, the genuine Mitsubishi ones. Then we have some carbon fiber covers for the pillars. These are $195, surprisingly, but yeah, expensive for what they are. And coming around to the back, we have the carbon fiber CSL style trunk or boot, whatever you like to call it. So this one set me back $800. I am about to, in the next few months, get this painted, colour matched. I sort of stopped, once I realised I was going to paint it, I stopped caring about the carbon so much. It's due for another coat of ceramic coating. It started to turn a little bit yellowy, but that's fine. I plan on getting it painted, so but $800. Painting will be about $200, but I haven't done that yet, so I won't include that. And then also around the back, we have these tail lights. Pretty new addition to the car. So these are Depot. They're sort of an OEM style, so hopefully you can see it's pretty dark. I had them smoked, so they have the OEM style lights, but they are LED, so really cool feature. I'll put a clip of those, what they look like lit up and everything. But yeah, those sent me back $500. They are super rare, so I got a bargain on those. Then I spent $150 getting them smoked. Also got the rear reflectors smoked at the same time. Wanted it done professionally by a shop that does that all day, every day. So that's why I spent so much. They're $150 to get them smoked. And I also just blacked out the third brake light as well, but that didn't really cost me anything. So yeah, I think that is it for the exterior mods. That overall, pretty subtle sort of build, as you can see, but that cost me $6,000. So I didn't spend that much on the exterior mods, to be honest. It's like you can see, a pretty simple but subtle build. A lot of OEM parts and OEM plus sort of stuff. Haven't gone crazy with carbon fiber everywhere. Haven't added a bunch of extra things like extra splitters and canards and stuff. I wanted to keep it pretty simple, and that's what I've done. So $6,000 to get the exterior looking from stock to that. And while we're also outside the car here, let's just move on to the suspension. One of the cheaper areas of the build, to be honest, for how much I've spent in other areas, but one of the most important. So I've just got a set of MCA coilovers. They set me back around $1,800. You can get any coilover, you can even get lowering springs and have your car sit at this height, but coilovers are definitely worth getting. And then also spent another $300 on a white line rear sway bar and end links. I got the sway bar used off a friend and bought the end links new, so about $300 there. So for the suspension, only $2,100 so far. We'll probably add to that a little bit in the future. I do want to change a bit more in the suspension, but so far, to get the car looking like that and handling like it does, which is absolutely amazing, $2,100. So now let's move on to the interior, which surprisingly is where I've spent a decent amount of money to modernize and customize the interior, which I always felt was kind of lacking in these cars. So yeah, let's jump into there and go over what I've done. Okay, so as you can see, the interior still has a bit of work to go, but I have done a decent amount of modifications in here. So sorry if the light's really harsh coming in, but we'll start off with down the bottom here. So we got these OEM floor mats, and I actually had a friend stitch these up saying Lance Revolution in blue rather than grey or white, but I've got the stock set of these at home that I paid $100 for, and I've also got these which I paid about $100 for, so about $100 for the OEM floor mats. Then I have the SST footrest. So this car is the dual clutch transmission, so a lot of the stuff is going to also count for a GSR manual evolution, but I am going to cover the transmission which I've had rebuilt in the end, but everything else this can work for a SST or a manual. But so that footrest set me back $190. So then we have, let's go with the roof lining itself. So I had that re-stitched, retrimmed in black, so that looks a lot nicer than the cream. That was $150. Then I picked up a full set of the black OEM pillars, mirror, like sun visors, lights, grab handles, everything, all up on the roof. You can see everything is black. So that was $500 to get all that. Also, the door cards, I'll probably show you this one, from a later model So have the leather up the top, the stitched leather on the side there, a lot nicer, a lot softer feeling, more quality than the plastic ones that my car originally came with, being a 2008 model. Those set me back $150. And sorry, I did actually get something wrong. The footrest was $120, just looking at the wrong section there. So the steering wheel, as you can see, I've got a carbon fiber steering wheel. This one is from Carbon Customs. It's got the carbon top in the middle here and the flat bottom with the Alcantara at the sides. That one would be around $800+ depending on when you get it, on sale or not. I actually got that off the company, so benefits I guess of having a YouTube channel. They reached out and wanted me to do a video on the product, so I did, and they sent that to me for free, but I will include that $800 I guess that it would cost. Also, another thing I got sent out was these carbon fiber paddle extenders. These ones are from Redline Shift and they cost $145, but obviously I got those sent out for the channel. Just gonna jump in the car to film the rest. Also we have these Lancer Evolution door sills. I guess I'd include those in the interior. So those were $200, so a genuine part there. Okay, then I have this digital dash. It's not finished. Soon it will be. I know I've been running it temporarily like this. Been watching for a while. I've said that I'm going to get it sorted soon. It is happening in the next few months. But so far that's set me back $700 for the dash itself. But I do have a flush mount on the way. I'll show you guys in a video how that's all going to be set up soon. But yeah, $700 for that. It will soon be all flush mounted and tucked and looking neat. But yeah, that one going to be a very nice mod when it is finished. Then we have these gauges which are going to be removed once the dash goes in, but for now we have them. So those, I have the AFR gauge on this side. That one set me back $330, and the boost gauge over this side, which set me back $280. Then I have this custom gauge pod surround setup, which is going to be removed soon as well. That set me back $200. So we also have an Android 10.2-inch head unit. That one was $600. We have an Evolution by Design fire extinguisher bracket with the fire extinguisher. That one was $100. Then I did the OEM Lancer Evolution leather and aluminium handbrake and shift knob. Actually got these quite cheap off a friend. You can pay big dollars for this sort of stuff, these OEM parts, but $250 for the set is what I paid. And then I upgraded from the original sort of open plastic area to the piano black sort of console and cubby holes with the little storage and the piano black around here, around the transmission. You can get these for both manual and auto. For those, I paid $300, and then also carbon fiber. This is an OEM part from Mitsubishi, carbon fiber AC cover. I paid $90 for this. You can't get them anymore, but you can get the sort of fake ones for around the same price. And that's probably going to be everything for the interior so far. So like I said, there's still a bit more to go. I am still going to do a leather retrim on the seats. Happy enough with Recaros, have no need to change them, but I will do the retrim soon and finish off this dash. Other than that, I will say the interior would be done, but it's actually been quite a bit of money. I've spent around $4,300 on the interior, but if you include the steering wheel and the paddles and everything, which I didn't pay for, it'd be around $5,300 total spent to get the interior to this level. So if you already have the leather seats, I'd consider this done. This is perfect. I think the interior is great now. I just need the leather seats done. But yeah, $5,300 roughly, and some things you might have to pay more, some things you might pick up cheaper. So now let's move on to the performance mods, because that's where the majority of the money has been spent. Okay, so as you can see, engine bay is quite modified, and like I said, I'm going to break this down into two parts. The performance mods, so the stuff you need just to make the power that I've made, and also the cosmetic dress up stuff, which isn't needed. I just wanted the look of the engine bay. I wanted it to be really modified, look nice, something, you know, I left the exterior of the car pretty subtle, but I wanted the engine bay to really pop, and I wanted the interior to be, which is where you spend most of your time, to be nice and comfy and modified and modern. So that's where some of the money has gone. But just for the performance mods, we're going to start off with. So this car makes just under 300 kilowatts or 400 wheel horsepower. So pretty decent power just for a stock engine, but with a lot of bolt-ons. So we'll go through all of those. So start off, the turbo I have. Now, a lot of these prices, as I said at the start, I search for a bargain. So wait for sales, Black Friday, stuff like that, clearance sales, pick up stuff off people used. So your turbo costs more, but I managed to get it for $3,000 in a sale. So it's the Intense 5656 turbo. It's a pretty new addition to the car, and that's what that cost me. The manifold I've had for a couple of years now. It is a tubular manifold, you can see there, Hypertune. That one set me back $1,300. They cost more now, but when I picked it up, that's what they cost. The injectors, a FIC 1200cc injector, that kit cost me $680. Again, picked that up in a big sale that was happening, and yeah, had to pay some shipping and stuff to get it, but it was the cheapest way I could get those, and yeah, definitely was a good bargain. Not sure if I'll be able to get that price again, but that's what I managed to get them for. So for the fuel pump and parts, I have a Walbro fuel pump, I have a hardwire kit and the fuel pump holder. That all came to $420. The 3-port solenoid you need to tune and up the boost safely and all that stuff, that's just a easy $220 there. The intercooler that I have, so I have an AMS 3.5-inch front mount intercooler. That one set me back $800. Some upper intercooler piping, it can be all different ranges of price. This titanium style one I've got here was $350. It could pay less, you could pay more, but $350 is a pretty easy price to get a set of upper intercooler piping for. The intake, this is an ETS intake. I've spent a little bit extra because I wanted the titanium one, $880, but you can get them a lot cheaper. And I used to have an intake that I sort of DIY'd up from a bunch of different parts, and you can easily get a similar looking setup for around $300. I just wanted this fancy titanium, so it was in that point where I just wanted to add to the cosmetics part of the engine bay, but it is a part that's needed to make the power, so I'll include it in this list. Then we have the inline fuel filter. So running E85, that is definitely recommended. As the line comes down, going into there. So that one was $350. Also have a fuel pressure regulator. That's what my tuner, AK Racing, wanted me to run for the power and the boost levels and the E85 and all that stuff. So that was a last minute thing. That sent me back $800. So the regulator, all the fittings and the lines and everything, it's a pretty neat setup, as you can see. And then we have a catch can. So this is a pretty new item to the car. Club spec customs catch can and power steering reservoir replacement. Really tidies up the engine bay a lot. Has these nice lines that go into the valve cover, and yeah, that one is $888. Then I have a bunch of different heat shields. So the intake heat shield, the firewall heat shield at the back, cam and Myvac heat shields, brake reservoir, I think that's all of them. That is $420 worth of heat shields from Evolution by Design. Then what else do we have? A dump pipe. So going down from the manifold or down from the turbo to the cat. That one I picked up for $400. Then we have the high flow cat or the test pipe from AK Racing. That one was $300. And last bit of the exhaust is the pretty new to me dual exit catback. I have the NVIDIA N1. I used to have an exhaust I paid $500 for, but I'm going to include the one that I have now, which was $1,400. So obviously I wanted that particular exhaust. I could have picked a used one or kept my original one up that I bought used and save some money there, but I wanted that particular setup. So there's some more money there that you could save if you were looking to do these mods yourself. Then I have a flex fuel kit. I picked up the NRG Ops V1, so I got that for pretty cheap as the V2 was on its way out. That was $580. That allows me to run E85, pump fuel, or a mixture of any mixture I'd like. So that's $580. Then the tune is, it can be anywhere from like $400 to over $1,000. I'm just going to say $800 for that. And then a blow-off valve. I have a Turbo Smart compact blow-off valve that cost me $150. And lastly, it's kind of not really performance, but it's something that I guess I added into the section, is a Mega Life lithium battery. Super lightweight battery. It was like just around 3 kilos or so, but that one was $595. So all of that, that's a pretty decent package. If you have the SST transmission like me, that's going to allow you to run similar times that I do in the 0 to 100, which is 3.2 seconds, and in the quarter mile of 11.53 seconds, or 11.5. So mid 11s, good launch, good power, usable power, and all of that set me back $14,300. So definitely the most expensive part of the overall build of the car by far, but it's where the money should be spent in my mind, is on performance. So yeah, that's the most expensive part. Now, since we're still in the engine bay, as you can see, we didn't cover a lot of the sort of custom parts. Like I said, I'll break it down into the customization section. So we did the paint. So this is actually the Evo 10 blue paint that I've got in here. I think it's called Octane Blue, can't remember, but the valve cover, the fuel rail, the battery terminal, the brake reservoir cover, they were all, and the dipstick, they were all painted for $250. Then I went pretty crazy, as you can see, with titanium. Sorry, my shadow is really in the way. But yeah, there's lots of titanium in here. So I'll start off a few parts from RK Titanium, such as this power steering reservoir. They actually don't offer this anymore at the moment. I know they take it on and off their website. I think Rob at RK Titanium, he doesn't actually like making this part. It's pretty hard for him to make, from what I've heard. It's a big process, but yeah, $800 roughly, I think. I paid for that, including shipping from the US. So that's not something you need, but yeah, got that for my birthday off the t-shirt. It's a bit of a showpiece for the car. It looks really nice. We also have the titanium coil cover and heat shield from RK Titanium as well. So those set me back around $335. All the RK parts are going to include shipping, as well as the blow-off valve hose. Just a little tiny piece of titanium tubing there just to really flow in with the rest, rather than the ETS rubber one that comes, or silicon. So that one is another $100. And then we have the Club Spec Customs dipstick, which I got painted blue, like I said. That one is around $80. We have the Club Spec Customs titanium, oh, lots of wind going on there, trying to rip my bonnet up. Club Spec Customs titanium oil caps, those ones are $180. And then we have some carbon fiber fuse box covers. Those ones set me back $220. We have the also carbon fiber strut bars to hold the bonnet up, which is actually nearly getting ripped off at the moment, so I might need to tighten those. They set me back $130. Then we have this APR carbon fiber radiator cooling tray, which is a really nice setup, actually functional as well as looks great. Okay, so that APR tray set me back $650. Also, I have a lack of wires, as you can see in the engine bay. So that is the NRG Ops wire tuck kit. So I have the full wire tuck kit. So it starts off with the Myvec wire that normally runs over the valve cover, but then I got the entire kit, which, as you can see, really cleans up down here the rest of the wires, the injectors, all the fueling stuff. It's all tucked away in the intake manifold. So that entire kit, that set me back $600. And then I have a bunch of titanium bolts all through the engine bay, so the valve cover bolts, for the strut bar, headlights, they're sort of everywhere. Those I actually got sent out by Top Tier Parts and Performance, but they are from JD Customs USA, and let's say around $450 worth of those. So the full kit you can price up, but yeah, includes like titanium bolts pretty much everywhere, scattered through the engine bay. But yeah, must have if you're going for the titanium look like I was. Also, I'm going to include the AK Racing under tray. It's not really cosmetic, but I just didn't know where else to put it, so that's down the bottom there. It does actually keep the engine bay looking nice and clean, so that one sets me back around $375. And I think last up, the radiator cap from RK Titanium, $50, and the Club Spec Customs titanium oil cap. That one was just around $200, $210. So that's, I think, everything. I did forget the titanium ECU bracket, $80. So that's everything for the engine bay cosmetics. Sorry, that one took me a while. I had the phone freeze on me and I had stuff sort of written everywhere, but I think that's everything. So total I've spent is, if you include the cost of what it would have been for the titanium bolts that I've got, about $4,700. So that's a lot of money to make the engine bay look the way it does, but I don't know, I just started off doing it over time. Like I said, this car's been built over the last 8 years, so I just started off adding little bits and deciding where I wanted to go. I've also got a few little custom touches, like, you know, some carbon fiber pieces like over the AC line there, and for the MAF cover, and just some other little things that have been done. Actually, I didn't include the strut bar there as well, I forgot to mention that. But yeah, the strut bar, $240, Cusco, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's included in the price. The total price was $4,700. So yeah, you could just run a stock engine bay and make the same power. You don't need to do all this, but people ask me what the cost of my entire build was. That is a big part of it. Okay, so like I said at the start, this car is the SST transmission, which if any of you guys have owned one or own one, you'll know that at some point, everyone, if they want to keep the car long term, is going to spend some money rebuilding it, unless they bought one that's already been done. That's a pretty recent feature for my car, is getting the SST done. It's probably about a year ago now, but changed the way the car drives, made me able to launch the car, made the car a lot quicker and more reliable to me. So that is quite an expensive part of the build. So I spent around $8,800 getting my SST completely rebuilt with shift forks, upgraded 10-plate clutches, everything fixed up, modified, rebuilt, changed. Whatever needed to be done, that got done. That was done by AK Racing here in Australia. I also had a heated SST sump recently added. I picked that one up for a really good price, to be honest. It was brand new, but been sitting in a box for a few years. And I got AK Racing to install that. So around $2,000 total I spent, a little bit under, but I'm gonna round it up to about $2,000 to get that added, which is a must-have if you live in a colder climate. Here in Australia, it's useful, but it's not a must-have, but I probably wouldn't want to go without one again. It does make the SST warm up a lot faster and keeps it regulated at a good temperature and operating range. So that's around $2,000, like I said. And also I had an Auto Super Sport added. So every time I start the car up, it goes straight into Super Sport mode, which is one of the driving modes, and that's how I drive the car 99% of the time. Probably not needed as much now because the SST transmission, like TCU, has been cracked recently, and now you're able to flip in and out of any of the drive modes whenever you want. Before it was more of a hassle, but that was $160. Car also got an that SST transmission tune upgrade, which I've done a video on. It upgrades a lot of the things for the driving, but that was included in the SST rebuild. So total I spent on the transmission is $10,960, roughly $11,000. So yeah, that's one of the other most expensive parts of the build, but if you're going to keep the car long term like I plan on, it is 100% worth it. Okay, so the total overall I've spent, which I've covered absolutely everything. I may have missed mentioning a few things, but I have added them into the overall list. But yeah, I know I did forget a couple of things, but yeah, the total overall cost to get every single part onto the car that you can see right here, make the power that I'm making, everything included, $43,000 in modifications. A little bit, could be a little bit more, could be a little bit less. Some of the prices I didn't have remembered or written down. I think I maybe paid less for some things, maybe paid more, but like I said, $43,000 is the figure I've come up with. So yeah, that seems like a lot of money. That is a lot of money, actually, I should say. And then if you include the cost of the car in the first place, which I bought standard, if I had bought one that was already modded like this, I could have got it for cheaper overall, but I also spent $27,000 to purchase the car in the first place. So that's a total of $70,000 into an Evo 10. $70,000 this owes me overall. Yeah, that is a lot of money. For that price, I could buy an RS3, I could buy an BMW F80 M3, a Mark V Supra. Those are three cars that I'd love to own alongside this, that I could get for around $70,000. But I know that I'd spend about $30,000 modifying those as well, so then I'd be at 100 rather than 70, probably more, because parts for an Evo 10 are pretty cheap compared to some of the European stuff. So yeah, $70,000 for this. It's a lot of money, but that's what it costs. It has been my daily driver for 8.5 years now. It has been an incredible car to daily. It makes great power. I've got a lot of memories with it. I made a lot of friends through this car. So to me, it's overall, it's worthwhile. Everyone has some sort of device they spend their money on. For me, it's the car. I have been lucky enough that making these YouTube videos does help out a little bit with parts. A lot of the money I make off the channel, I just spend on the car on new parts. And it's a cycle that goes around. I make the money, I spend the money. So it doesn't owe me personally, I guess. If I was to just keep the money I made from YouTube, then yeah, but I spend it all back on the car and on video equipment and stuff like that. So a little bit of save there, and also a few companies reached out, give me discounts or give me parts to install and film a video on, has saved me some money too. So my overall cost will be a little bit lower, but for anyone else to just buy all these parts, and yeah, looking at around $70,000. So yeah, there you go. That's answered the question that a fair few of you guys have been asking me. Not many people want to really put out how much they've wasted on a car, because a lot of people are going to call that wasted. But yeah, I'm going to end the video there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy it. If you did, give it a thumbs up down below and let me know in the comments, what have you spent on your car? What's the most you've spent? I'm curious if anyone, I know people have beat me. I've got friends who've spent a lot more than me, but curious to see what you guys, if any of you guys have a list of costs added up for your build, let me know down below. But yeah, I'll end it there. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this one. With all that said, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.